That's right, Stitch, on the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel. It is week 12. We have basically 3 more weeks of the regular season. It's the home stretch. We are finally getting started, getting close to the playoffs. Your fantasy games, every game matters. You might even be eliminated. And if you join us today and you've been eliminated, we appreciate you. We'll talk DFS. We'll talk some key injuries that can help your DFS lineups. You don't worry about it. We're going to have it all today on the show. But make sure before we start the show that you subscribe to the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel. That's right. This is the channel you're watching right now. Subscribe, leave a comment. We're going to answer start-sit questions for the rest of the year, but we're going to be around all season long. Also, make sure you go to Razzball Fantasy on YouTube and IG, TikTok. We got it across the board. And, of course, make sure you go to Razzball.com. That's right. We have all great articles all week long. But today we're here to break down the show. Let me bring in my team. Let's start the show right now. All right, the first man on the screen today is Sky Gawasko. Now, Sky Gawasko, it was a parody account. Adam Schefter said you were waived from Razzball Fantasy. I want to let you know that it's not true. Breaking news is not true. Sky Gawasko is officially a part of the team forever and always. What's going on, Sky?
Yeah, it's tough. Sometimes you just got to check multiple sources. There was a leaked account there, but thankfully, I'm still on the team as of now. I know I've had a couple rough weeks here lately, but doing my best. Traveling on the road, doing what's best for the team, and hopefully I can get in pay dirt a few times this week.
If people don't know, Sky Gawasko joins us from all over the world, essentially. This guy is always loyal, always on Sunday. We love him for it. We appreciate it, as always, brother. Bringing in the next guest today, it's Gladys L. Tyler. And if you, honestly, at this point, she's the savant of words. If you haven't been watching the show all season long, we have created, the dictionary has been updated 3 to 5 different times with the greatest and the latest. What's going on, Gladys?
Hey, I do what I can, I do what I can.
That's why we love you. That's why you always come back on. That's why we love you. How you doing today, Gladys? You excited? Anything brewing? Any games? Any matchups? What's your playoff situation? What's going on in fantasy right now for you?
Pretty much, I have to win out in just about every fantasy league that I'm in order to make the playoffs, which I'm gonna do. I'm like dropping and picking up like crazy people all over the place. I need sleepers to not be sleepers. That's what we're going for. High ceiling.
What's funny? You know what the best part about sleepers is if they stay sleeping, they're not good. So exactly. The key there is we want our sleepers to wake up. Absolutely.
Wake up now.
Bringing in the last one for today is Derek. Derek was kind of a guy, mid-season acquisition. The guy was in street clothes before the season started. We signed him off the street. Becomes a starter for us. Now he's like a key contributor. Derek, what's going on, man?
Yeah, doing well. Yeah, it scared me a little bit seeing Sky might be released. I'm playing on my rookie contract, so I'm looking for a payday. With Sky being released, it made me a little nervous, but glad to see everybody here.
Opposite, actually. That would have freed up some money for you. Next thing you know, you're got that multi-year deal. So, Derek, what's going on with you, man, in the fantasy landscape? Anything going on? Any tough start-sit questions? What do you got for us today?
Yeah, I do have one. I'll bring up here in a minute. Overall, fantasy teams are doing well. Should be in the playoffs in most of them. Actually, what really trying to do is settle into that bye week, get that bye week, get that break for a week while everyone else fights it out and just wait for the winner. So that's what I'm fighting for, is to try to get those last couple wins to get that bye.
All right. Sky, I didn't ask you, man. How's your fantasy seasons going, man? What's going on for you with fantasy this week? Any tough start lineup questions? Any must-win games? What's going on?
Yeah, I do have one league that it doesn't really make sense. It's one of those I'm like second in points scored, but I'm like 8th in standings because fantasy's stupid. Yes. But I've had a bunch of injuries, so a bunch of the key guys have gone down in that league throughout the season. So I've been a bit tough. Mark Andrews, Cooper Kupp, Lamar Jackson's. Guys like that. I was a big AJ Dillon guy. Of course, that's fallen out from underneath us. So been a little bit tough, but should be okay in most leagues as well. But I agree, man. It's all about getting that bye week right now. And obviously you just need to make the tournament in general, but getting that bye week helps kind of, move you on to the next week for free.
Yeah. Now, listen. Today we got. I'll break down some injuries before we got the questions rolling in. This morning and last night I've been doing it. There's a shit ton of injuries. There's a lot going into this week. Some fun ones though, and I hate to say injuries are fun, but I want to talk about one of the first ones here. We got our key injury report across the board here, and Sky. This is kind of what I want to talk about really quick. Is actually Raheem Mostert being doubtful. Jeff Wilson, two of your former 49ers loves, now jumping over there to Miami, and now he got Mostert out. How high are you on Wilson this week? Is he an RB1 and a must-start player?
100%. Yeah, I mean, he's borderline RB1 anyway for me. He is the number one talent there. I think Heem had seniority, and obviously those guys both know each other from time in San Francisco. Also, Mike McDaniel knows them as well. Shouts out to Russell Wilson. But I mean, I've been a Jeff Wilson guy for 5 years for no reason, and now I can actually do it for fun. So I'm 100% all about Jeff Wilson.
Jeff Wilson to me seems like the guy that this is probably going to disappoint this week because it's like everything's in place. He's got the greatest matchup. He's got all the touches, and then he's going to get like 8 points, and I'm going to just be so sad.
See, I think what's different is when we do this, because there's always one or two of those guys for us every week, right? We're like, everybody start Darrell Henderson, and he gets 7 carries for 12 yards. The difference is I feel so much better about Jeff Wilson. First of all, in general, I think he's just a steady player for the team. Also, this is a team that's very good. We play like okay players on okay teams and okay situations, hoping that they blow up in their particular week they get opportunity. This is already shown as the starter. Now I think he just gets more consistent work.
All right. Let's jump down to a couple of ones. So one of the bigger news is there's a lot of QB changes today. One of them is Davis Mills is going to be out for Kyle Allen starting today. Now, I'm going to kick it over to you to Gladys. Gladys, any thoughts about the Kyle Allen situation with Houston? Is Miami's defense like a must start? Do you think you're going to be fading Nico Collins and Brandon Cooks and Pierce? What's your thoughts on that situation?
I actually, as far as DFS goes, like not in redraft, I would play Kyle Allen because out of all the ones that are coming in to start, he has the most rushing upside. He's going to be behind by many points, and he's going to have to catch up. I wouldn't play Brandon Cooks. I think Brandon Cooks is like just does not want to be there and does not care. Nico Collins is someone, and then there's Cooper, is that his name? Hold please. There's a third wide receiver that has been on the practice squad with Kyle Allen that I would play, and I will find his name out for you.
The backup QB to the backup receiver combo. We've seen that plenty of times.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm afraid of playing Kyle Allen, yes, in redraft, but on DFS, I would put a flyer in on him depending on how many lineups you put in. I like Kyle Allen. I like his rushing upside.
We got to figure out how much he costs because he's probably like $5,000 as a quarterback, and that's actually very good value because even if he gets you like 15 points, like that's what you need to win in DFS. So that's a great call for that game. The other one too here, one of the key ones that I like. Now, when I was doing a lot of the numbers and you look at our slot versus wide metric, the Houston Texans actually look decent against receivers. It's mostly because they get killed on the ground. Derek Stingley Jr., one of the top cornerbacks for the Texans, will be out today. He's actually big news for Hill and Waddle because he's probably one of their best cover guys. Another big one here, I'm going to kick it on to you to Derek here, is Joe Mixon is out today against the Tennessee Titans. You got Samaje Perine getting the start after a big game just last week. Is he a must-start RB2 for you, Samaje Perine, this week?
No, he's not. I mean, if you have to start him, you've got to start him. But, the Titans defense is, not too bad against running backs. And, Perine, he'll get some work. He'll get some catches out of the backfield. But he's not a must-start for me. No, I think Burrows to Higgins is going to be a common connection we're going to hear today. There will be some work out of the backfield, but to me, Perine is not necessarily a must start.
All right. Well, I want to shout out Isaac real quick. Isaac is here again. Razzball family, let's ride. LOL. He gets it, man. He's just here for us, ready to ride and roll. We're going to be talking about some injuries. Before the questions start rolling in, Isaac, we appreciate you for jumping on, of course, as well. Let's jump down a couple more injuries here. You got Jamar Chase looks to be out again. That's probably going to be good news for Higgins and Boyd for another week. D'Amico Autry, solid defensive tackle, will be out today as well. We got KJ Hamler, Jerry Jeudy out for the Denver Broncos. I do believe Cortland Sutton should have a decent week this week against the Carolina Panthers. D'Amico Autry, by the way, is defensive tackle for the Tennessee Titans, so that maybe is a little bit good news for a player like Samaje Perine. Go and jump down to Kywin Williams. He's actually the slot cornerback for the Denver Broncos, playing against the Carolina Panthers. Sam Darnold and company. I don't even know if that's even worth it with PJ Walker out. Sam Darnold will be getting the start today, so we'll see how that rolls out as well. The bigger one here is Justin Fields is another one. He's out today, most likely. He will warm up this morning, but it sounds like he's not going to play. Literally pour one out for your homemate because he has him in every single league, so it's been a tough one. Starting a lot of Jimmy Garoppolo's and Ryan Tannehill's this week, so I'm super excited for that one, folks. Two names that you're not going to really recognize here. A couple Bears secondary players, a safety and a cornerback are out today. Now that's a couple. Now that Jets-Bears game, calling for rain, no Justin Fields. Now you got two injuries in the secondary. Skyzer, are you going to be looking at the Jets defense potentially in that game with the David Montgomerys of the world with no just? What's your thoughts on that Bears-Jets game with the weather with no Justin Fields?
Absolutely got the Jets. First of all, it's going to be a sloppy, bad game anyway. The Bears aren't actually good, right? Let's be real here. The Bears are not actually good on offense right now. Justin Fields, when healthy, has been amazing, and that's a big difference here. So if he's not in the game, I'm fading all Bears if I can. I mean, David Montgomery's tough because he's a running back, and running backs are running backs, but I can find somebody else for Darnell Mooney, unfortunately. Cole Kmet's been in and out anyway. Chase Claypool hasn't even played basically for them yet since coming over from Pittsburgh, and Khalil Herbert's out, obviously. So for me, absolutely, it's fire up the Jets because it's either Trevor Siemian getting the start or it's going to turn to Nathan Peterman, and either one of those guys are fantasy gold for a DST, especially in bad weather.
Nathan Peterman's like a pick six machine. Gotta love him. I gotta appreciate the effort he does for fantasy football. Gotta love that. Sheldon Rankins, defensive tackle, is out this week. Jets defensive tackle, but at the same time, with the injuries to Justin Fields, really tough to start David Montgomery on the road at the Meadowlands in that game. Zach Wilson, of course, another one out today. Gladys, you got the feel for Kyle Allen. What's your thoughts about the Mike White situation there? Is there anything from last year's games, any insight about Mike White potential for the Jets this week?
Yes, but quickly, Kyle Allen is 4,800 on DraftKings and 61 on FanDuel, and Chris Moore is the wide receiver I was talking about. So last season, Mike White, in the 3 games he played, Garrett Wilson, who was playing the same position that Elijah Moore played last year. Elijah Moore led in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns in the 3 games that Mike White started. So if you are a Garrett Wilson truther, that's going to help you, give you a little more confidence. Although remember that Corey Davis is coming back in, so it might muddle it up a little bit. But I am not as high on Mike White as I am on Kyle Allen, mainly because I think this is just going to be a sloppy game where they're just going to try to run the ball a lot, on both sides. But like I said, 16 receptions, 195 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns for Elijah Moore with Mike White should translate well to Garrett Wilson.
I got to tell you too, though. So just another thing when I notice about buying down on the sites, FanDuel is tougher. Like you just brought up Kyle Allen is 6,100 on FanDuel, right?
Yeah.
That's not that much of a discount on FanDuel, and it's not even worth it. I think when you buy down on DraftKings, it actually is worth it to an extent because you actually do get discounts on that as well. So that is something worth noting. I do like the Kyle Allen call for DraftKings only. FanDuel, I don't know if I would make that buy down. It doesn't seem like enough of a discount there. All right, let's jump down to Benjamin St. Juste. I like that. That name's very, very exotic sounding. He's one of the cornerbacks for the Commanders. He is actually out today. That's good news for Drake London. Drake London, who's been kind of hot or cold. No Kyle Pitts, of course, on IR for the next couple weeks. going up against the Commanders. Look for Drake London to benefit from that injury as well. Here's another big one, folks. Leonard Fournette is out. Is it time? Now, Derek, kicking over to you. So Rachaad White, is he an RB1 this week? Is he a must start with Leonard Fournette out?
He is a must start, no question. Is it his time? We've said this a couple weeks now. He's the best running back in that backfield. Honestly, he's the most dynamic. If he's going to do it, he's going to do it this week. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of people living and dying, I think, with Rachaad White. And I'm not going to lie, he's on one of my lineups too. Must play. Crossing my fingers.
I believe they also re-signed.
If he's going to do it,
if
he's going to do it, yeah, I did see that too. I don't think he's going to get a lot of work. I think White's going to get as much opportunity as he can. If he comes out hot, he's going to roll. If he doesn't, it's going to be a tough watch.
Yeah, well, Gio was on IR for a long time. He's like a passing game specialist. Maybe he gets the third down work, but I mean, you got to think White's going to be the guy on the ground against the Cleveland Browns today. And that's another game that could be slightly impacted by whether it's not supposed to be crazy rain, but it's another one that could have some weather implications as well. But really today, it's really the Jets game that has the most rain. But anyway, let's jump down. We have a couple questions coming in. Ryan H. I'm going to take off the bet. Brandon here. Ryan H, by the way, hello, man. Always good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us as well. Please pick 2 standard league. Great job. Make sure if you add questions to the comments, guys, also include your format. It really helps. We got Keenan Allen, Christian Watson, Christian Kirk, Metcalf, Ayuk, or Josh Palmer. Last week, he put in Keenan Allen over Palmer, went off. Bench Watson for Kadarius Toney. Listen, Kadarius Toney haunts all our dreams. Trust me, as my friend, I know for a fact as well. Sky, let's kick it over to you. Pick 2 standard league: Allen, Watson, Kirk, Metcalf, Ayuk, or Palmer.
Christian Watson, Ayuk. Pretty easy for me.
Gladys?
Metcalf and Ayuk.
Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, we're going to really mix this up, I think, for Ryan, because I do like Metcalf along with Gladys, but I'm going to take Palmer here in this one. I mean, Palmer's getting plenty of targets, even with or without Allen in the lineup. Of course, Mike Williams is out. I'm going to go Palmer and Metcalf.
This is wild.
all good options, honestly. They're all good options. Sorry, I didn't quite elaborate there. I was trying to give space, but Christian Watson's just been a touchdown machine. Obviously, if he's healthy, Rodgers the guy. It's going to be a primetime game. We know that Rodgers likes to go off. Philly is very tough, and I can't imagine Darius Slay doesn't cover up Lazard. So if he does, maybe Christian Watson's the number 1, and I'm totally wrong here, but Christian Watson for me is going to be the guy. And then for Ayuk, he's the number 1 wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. Only 2 receptions last week. I get it, but both of them were scores. And he was wide open on a deep post that would have been a 65-yard touchdown, but Jimmy doesn't like to throw deep. So I'm just going to ride the wave there. Kirk, Keenan, as much as I love him, and Metcalf for me are question marks. I do also like Josh Palmer, but I would go with Watson and Ayuk myself.
I'm actually going to go Christian Kirk. I feel like he's the guy that's been really consistent. Baltimore is a slot funnel defense if you look at our slot versus wide metrics, so I do like that play. I'm going to go Keenan Allen. I'm rolling with him. Let's do it, man. He finally made it through a game without getting hurt. He's got actually a decent matchup against Arizona's slot cornerback. Byron Murphy's also out this week as well. So I know this is probably not helpful, Ryan, but it looks like we're all over the place this week. But the good news is, based on Derek's comments and the rest of us, seems like you have really good options. You're not going to go wrong here, but I am going to go Kirk and Allen. Lindorfin's always a pleasure, sir, back on. Man, we don't even know. That pink could fool me. I'm not even sure. We've never seen your face, but we love you either way. Starting Godwin as my wide receiver 1 this week. Has some rough options at wide receiver 2. Who do you like of Deontay, Curtis Samuel, Treylon Burks, or Hollywood? This is a 12-team half PPR. Gladys, down to you first.
Well, not Deontay. The Colts haven't allowed a perimeter wide receiver to score. Hollywood is on a pitch count, I believe it was said, if he is in the game. So not Hollywood. So it will be between Curtis Samuel and Treylon. I actually like Treylon Burks. I think that's going to be a really close game, and I'm not sure that the Titans will not be playing from behind. And lots of points scored, and Treylon should get the passing action. I'm going to go Treylon Burks.
Derek, over to you, sir.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. First thing I'm going to say is I'm going to temper my expectations on Godwin today because I really think this is a Mike Evans prime game for him. But of course, Godwin is a start. But yeah, of the others, you see him. I've got the Titans jersey in the back. Titans are for real. I'm going Treylon as well. Deontay, no. Curtis Samuel, I think McLaren matches up a lot better against the Falcons, who give it up to the wideouts, but are a little bit better against the slot, which is where Samuel lives. So, and of course, you mentioned Hollywood on a pitch count. So, yeah, Burks for me.
Sky?
Yeah, I'll go with Treylon too. I agree. I think the Titans are playing well right now, and he's kind of molding in the last 2 weeks. He's kind of molding into a true number one, getting more looks. Obviously, had the huge catch 2 weeks ago, but just more consistent, which is great. Great prospect coming out, so I think he just needs to kind of grow into himself. Deontay's been a fade for me all season long, and Hollywood. I like the idea of Hollywood. Rondale Moore is actually out this week, but it's been the DeAndre Hopkins show, and we're getting Kyler back first time in a couple of weeks. What is that offense going to look like there? So I'm going to wait on Hollywood. I agree, and then I like Curtis Samuel a lot. It's hard for me to throw him in a lineup for some reason weekly. The quick thought on Godwin. To answer the question, I'm going to go with Treylon Burks, but quick thought on Godwin. Per the Razzball slot versus wide tool that, of course, all of our viewers are looking at simultaneously as they watch the live stream. We know that's going on. But if you haven't by chance caught it, to Derek's point, the Browns are I just want to double check. Give me 1 second here.
They are the toughest matchup for slot quarterbacks. Slot wide receivers, sorry.
That's what I was looking to say. But furthermore, they're the fourth best for outside wide receivers, meaning Mike Evans. So I agree with Derek there. I can't imagine sitting Chris Godwin, but those are the type of decisions, and it's crunch time. So be careful out there with some of these start sits.
Yeah, sorry, it's a little hazy. I'm like in a fantasy world. All right, I'm like a wizard or something. I don't even know. Anyway, so
maybe it's all the tryptophan in your computer, bro. It's just kind of a little fuzzy.
Yeah, you're sitting inside a crystal ball, Bobby. Come on.
Yes. Couple things. Number one, the really cool thing about what we do over at Razzball is we also include where the receivers get their fantasy points. And Chris Godwin is about 60% slot. Even though he runs about 2/3 of his snaps from the slot, his fantasy production is about 60-40 because when he scores touchdowns, he was on the perimeter, which is great. So, yes, it looks bad for Godwin this week. Maybe you don't play him in DFS, but I think season long he'll be fine because he doesn't get about 40% of his production from the outside. So that's good news there. And he also gets a lot of screen passes, which is kind of, different. That's one for PPR leagues. That's a catch at the screen pass. But anyway, I'm actually interested in Treylon Burks a lot this week because of how he looked last week in that Packers game against Jair Alexander, a really good outside cornerback. He beat him deep. And the thing with I love is they're doing a lot of the play action. They're hitting him long too. They're taking deep shots with Burks. Plus, I have Burks in a lot of leagues, so let's do this. Let's get in there. Help Bob out too. The Dolphins, it's Treylon Burks across the board, and a close second for me would be Curtis Samuel in a plus matchup against the Falcons. All right, Isaac, jumping down here. Pick 2, Hollywood Brown. Another Hollywood Deontay question. Demarcus Robinson, by the way, quietly had just a dominant performance last week. And then Joshua Palmer with no Mike Williams in that really good game for that Arizona Chargers game. Let's kick it over to you, Derek, first. What do you got here, pick 2?
Yeah, if you followed us for a while, I've been on the Demarcus Robinson bus for a while. It finally did pay off. He's not a week-to-week for me, but, when the plus matchup is there. For this one, I definitely, mentioned Josh Palmer. I like Josh Palmer here as well, as we talked about. And in this case, I'm probably going to run with Hollywood Brown. I know, we know his snaps are going to be limited, but with Rondale Moore out and just those weapons in Arizona's. I mean, if they're going to do anything, they're in a must-win. They've got to win today. So they've got 2 stud wide receivers. Hollywood's going to have to show up. He looked good in some of the videos we saw, so I'm going to go Palmer and Brown out of this lineup.
Sky?
Yeah. I can actually go DeMarcus. See, DeMarcus Robinson, the issue with him is he did this with the Chiefs. He does like the random week where he's got 6 for 120 and 2 touchdowns, and then we don't hear from him again for 2 months. So I think consistently it's Josh Palmer for sure is a lock for me. And then it comes down to Deontay and Hollywood. Hollywood, I think, is going to be on kind of more Deshaun Jackson than usual, just some deep throws to get started there. So I might actually run with the Deontay this week, and I hate it, but I think it's going to be volume. This is a full PPR league, which matters more for me in this particular group of players, because Deontay could get his 8, catches for 60 yards, which isn't amazing, but, that's 12, 14 points. And if he accidentally scores, that could work out quite well for you. So Josh Palmer for sure for me. And then I would lead slightly to Deontay Johnson.
Gladys?
I'm worried about the pitch count for Hollywood, especially in a PPR. And I'm not even sure what Cliff Kingsbury means when he says pitch count, because I'm not sure that he knows what he means. Deontay, he's not going to give you massive points, but he has 5 targets, 9 targets in his last 3 games. DeMarcus Robinson in that offense is too much of a flux. So I'm going to have to go Josh Palmer and Deontay Johnson in a PPR. If it was standard, I wouldn't go Johnson, but in a PPR, Johnson's going to get at least his floor is 5 targets. Colts are good against the receivers, but I can just see Pickett trying to get it down to both of them. So I'm going Johnson and Palmer.
Yeah. It's funny. We talk about DeMarcus Robinson having, a good matchup. He's playing Jacksonville today. And based on the numbers, Jacksonville's a great matchup. Coming off a 9-catch, 128-yard performance. It's tough to I think Joshua Palmer I'm good with that one too. I think when it comes down to it here, though, if I'm if I feel like I'm an underdog and I want a big game, I'm going to go DeMarcus Robinson. If I feel like I just want my 5 for 50 and get my 10 PPR points and I feel comfortable with that and I feel like I can win the game no matter what, I'm going to go Deontay. I feel like he's going to get that. But you got to remember, Indianapolis Colts have Stephon Gilmore, tough against receivers. So that's my answer. I think if I need upside, I'll go DeMarcus Robinson. If I want my safe play, I'll go Johnson. That's a little cop-out answer there. So
the good thing is that wait, never mind. I was going to say he could switch out if the score, but the Baltimore's an early game. So that's not that. Yeah, that wouldn't work.
All right, let's see. Mackenzie, that is the call. Palmer and DK on the previous question. So there you go. The question here, Mackenzie, let's see. Full PPR flex, Watson or Rachaad White? 2 of the younger studs in the world here. Kick it over to you, Sky, first. What do you got?
Christian Watson. I'm pretty stoked on it. I gave it a week. I know. And I hope I'm wrong on this one, to be honest with you, because I would love to see another running back. I would love to see another kid that we've been waiting for to pop off. But you had mentioned earlier that Jeff Wilson might be the guy that all of us say start Jeff Wilson and then he throws up a dud. I mean, I can't imagine a better scenario than Rachaad White or Samaje Perine doing that for us this week. So I'm more nervous about that. And look, man, Rodgers and Christian Watson are feeling it, and he is the touchdown guy. It's not Lazard. We've seen great coverage and bad coverage on Lazard, and it's been Watson still. So full PPR, I'll go with Watson.
Gladys?
I really fear the Eagles secondary, not just their slay, like that complete secondaries are monsters. They are. I'm going to go with Rachaad White with no Fournette. The Buccaneers have decided that running the ball is a good idea too, instead of just putting it all on Brady's shoulders. And Rachaad White can catch a few. I'm going to go with Rachaad White instead of Watson. Just because, not because of the talent-wise, but because I think the Eagles secondary is just that good, and they play up to big-time games.
Derek?
Certainly more volume and opportunity for White for sure.
Yeah, agreed. Although, an interesting scenario that came out of last week's game when White had 22 rushing attempts. And of course, he had over 100 yards, which is great, but he had 0 targets. This is a guy who has multiple targets in almost every game on the season. In a limited role, he has the bulk of the rushing attempts, but he had 0 targets. That doesn't scare me off. I think he's going to get more this week and kind of back to his traditional role with the volume. So I'm definitely going White. But yeah, I noticed that in the box score, and it was really interesting to see that he didn't had 0 targets last week. But again, as the PPR angle, I'm like Gladys said, I am staying away from that Philly defense with someone like Watson. Definitely going White.
Yeah, White. The Browns are terrible on the ground too. They're not a good run defense. So I just don't understand. If you have Rachaad White on your team, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Like, this is it. Like, what was the point of stashing him the whole time? If you this is it. So, and it's not like he's facing like a top 10 run defense and you're like scared off. It's supposed to be weather's supposed to be a slight factor in that game too, which always leans run. I'm going Rachaad White. Don't overthink this one, in my opinion. Go Rachaad White. We do have some breaking news that kind of shocked me here. Is James Robinson is out today in that very, very exciting Jets-Bears game. But that is a slight bump from Michael Carter, who, by the way, Mike White in his starts last year targeted the running backs relentlessly, including Michael Carter. In the 3 games he really started, him and Ty Johnson were first and third in targets on the team. So that could be something for Michael Carter's PPR asset this week because of the news that James Robinson is out today. All right, J-Bone. All right, what's going on, man? Have a problem with PPR? Well, you know what? We're here to solve it. That's why we're here. I have the following.
We're pretty much vanilla ice.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay, anyway. Fill the 3 wide receiver and 1 flex spot. So we have to pick 4 here. It looks like this is a good problem to have. Glass, we're going to kick it down to you first. We've got Debo, Godwin, Pittman, Devonta Smith, Pierce, and Treylon Burks. I'm assuming this is an Alex Pierce, not Damian Pierce, because it seems like a Rod Pierce. So let's go to Gladys first. Who do you got? Pick 4. It basically looks like you're sitting 2.
I'm sitting. It's Alex Pierce. I'm sitting Alex Pierce. I'm sitting Alex Pierce for sure. And
Damian.
What?
Oh, it's Damian Pierce.
Oh, Damian. Okay. Yeah. Then
he does have a flex.
I am sitting Damian Pierce. He's been trending down. He's had some rough patches, but I don't know if he's hit the wall or whatever, but he's trending down, and his matchup today is but sitting Damian Pierce, and I don't want to sit Debo. I don't want to sit Godwin. Pittman is playing against Pittsburgh, who are just a funnel for wide receivers. So it has to be Devontae Smith because I'm not going to sit Treylon. So I'm going to sit Devontae Smith and Pierce.
Derek?
Yeah, this one actually really lines up well with some of the things that I've been thinking about this week for my teams. I've got Damian Pierce in 1, and I'm considering him for the flex or not. That's a tough one for me. 2 other guys I really like, Pittman and Devonta Smith. I think both of them have great matchups this week. So I'm going to go with those 2. I'm going to sit Pierce, and I'm just going to sit Burks as well. I'll go with Debo, Godwin, Pittman, and Smith. That'll be my 4.
Sky?
Bob, does Jair Alexander focus on Devonta Smith? Is he still playing like half the field, or is he shadowing? What are we doing? Because I feel like Devonta Smith is a great matchup, but for some reason Jair Alexander has not covered the number 1 a few different times this year, and just randomly the number 2 is completely eliminated in what seems to be a number 1 elimination game. So I like Derek's point there. I'm just a little bit nervous that that's been happening on occasion. So I just kind of want to throw that out there. I'm not sure if we have any particular reports on trends. I didn't look into it prior to the show here. I also like Pittman. and with Matt Ryan back and the Steelers just not playing well. I do like Devonta Smith. I also like Godwin, and I can't imagine sitting Debo, but I watch the 49ers very closely all of the time, and I love me some Debo Samuel. Dude's incredible. If he doesn't get the play in space and break 6 tackles for a 75-yard run, he just has not been Debo Samuel, period. And they don't need him. They have so many other weapons right now. So for me personally, in a game with a quarterback that I don't think is very good, where the Texans are going to have to slow down the game a little bit and be the number one option with Cook fading a little bit also, I'm going to pull an audible here. I know you won't sit Debo, but I just want to throw this out there. I'm going to go Godwin, Pittman, Smith. I would sit Debo and go with Pierce personally.
I'm sitting Pierce and Smith. The Colts are really good in the secondary. So I don't excuse me. The only thing I would say is when you have these really tough matchups for the Eagles, it just seems like they change hands. It's either A.J. Brown or Smith when they have these tougher matchups. And I listen, Debo last week, he kind of put it all together, found the end zone. I'm okay with starting Debo. I'm going to go Debo, Godwin, Pittman, and Treylon Burks. Oh, man, Burks. Okay, Burks, let's just don't. I'm saying his name a lot today.
So Bob, real quick.
I'm just a little excited.
Treylon Burks is going to be the wide receiver that, you're worried about with Jeff Wilson, Samaje Perine, maybe Rachaad White. Treylon Burks is already that wide receiver for us this week.
Oh, gotta be. Especially because I need him. I'm starting him in like 2 leagues. So
then I'll be benching.
Yeah,
I'll be benching.
Just bench him. It's over. It really just came when I saw him last week play so well in the weather. It was actually freezing cold in that game, and the Titans passing offense looked so good. But it was when he beat Jair Alexander and caught that long pass, and I'm like, oh shit, this kid's legit. I'm in. And then he's like, Cincinnati's lost their top cornerback. They don't have Chidobe Awuzie, and I'm like, everything sounds real good for me. It's just not going to go anywhere. It's going to be Derrick Henry for 25 carries, 250 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and then Ryan Taylor's going to throw for 115 yards, and we're going to be good to go. All right, that's all the questions we have so far. So let's kick back over to we have some inactives. Obviously, the James Robinson, by the way, is a healthy scratch. Super exciting there for us. So that's always interesting as well because I think he was not on the injury report. He had no injury, and it was interesting that he's a healthy scratch. All right, let's jump down some other of the injuries here. Greg Newsome, this is actually slight feather in the cap for Chris Godwin. Greg Newsome is the slot cornerback for the Cleveland Browns. He is out today, so that is some news for Chris Godwin. Isaiah Likely, the talented rookie tight end, is out today for the Ravens. That is actually good news. I think Mark Andrews might get a couple more passes his way because of this. Might be a fun buy-up option in DFS and a must-start, of course, in season long. Ronnie Stanley, left tackle's out today for the Ravens. Slight thing for Lamar Jackson coming, but nothing worth noting because he's the only offensive lineman out for them today. Jumping down to the Mike Williams, of course, is out today. Josh Palmer really showed up big last week once Mike Williams re-aggravated his injury again. Thank God, because that was super fun for someone who drafted him in like 5 of 6 leagues. Thank you so much, Mike Williams. We appreciate not being involved at all. Not only is Rondale Moore out today, but Greg Dortch is also out. So both slot corner wide receivers are out today. I have no idea who's going to be in the middle of the field, but I can tell you Marquise Hollywood-Brown might get some slot work with Hopkins and Robbie Anderson as the other options in A.J. Green. So maybe Hollywood-Brown plays that slot role this week. We'll see there as well. Byron Murphy is out today. That's actually one of the top quarterbacks for the Arizona Cardinals. That bodes really well for Josh Palmer and Keenan Allen and company. DJ Humphries, top left tackle for the Arizona Cardinals, now on IR, but he is out today as well. That's a slight thing to Kyler Murray, who's dealing with his own leg injuries. Maybe that Chargers defense could finally be a thing and really step up this week with the Bosa and company healthy on their side of the football as well. We have a couple injuries to the front seven for the Saints. Kind of banged up over the last few weeks against that 49ers team. 49ers are rolling. Sky, let's jump it over to you really quick. Yeah, your boys 49ers, man. Are you starting to get the tingles? Are you getting the feels? Are you falling back in love with Jimmy G? What's going on with you right now?
Whoa. Let's not go that far. Yeah, Jimmy's not very good, but he's the perfect quarterback for what we have, which is great. And I think the reality is, and this is a full homer take if you want it, but I think just the NFL all of a sudden is like, oh, the Niners might be a dark horse to really take the NFC by storm. It's like that wouldn't have been an issue if guys didn't get hurt, right? The Niners can't stay healthy. They're healthy right now for the last 2 games, and they've smashed. I think that's going to continue as long as CMC has a role. Elijah Mitchell's a starting running back on probably 25 teams in the NFL, and he's the backup. And Brandon Ayuk is the number 1 in my opinion. He's a backup. You got Debo and Kittle too. Niners are great, and the defense is getting healthy and better, and their schedule is not super intense. And as long as they can get past the Seahawks again, which I think they will, they'll be just fine because the Cardinals and Rams are going backwards in a hurry. And outside of Philadelphia, maybe Rodgers on a good week, maybe Brady on a good week. I just don't see another, dominant force necessarily in the NFC right now.
Yeah. Now, guys, kick it over to you. Matthew
Dallas, I
Stafford.
suppose.
The Eagles. We can't forget about them too. They're actually very good. You want to
Sorry,
see
really,
it first.
My last point is Shanahan is dominant over certain coaches in the NFL because of previous relationships and things, and he smashes Sean McVay, as we've noticed, and things like that. Takes care of Cliff Kingsbury most of the time, which they did last week. The Cowboys to me are not a huge threat. Like if both teams are healthy, I'm not worried about the Cowboys as a 49er fan. Philadelphia is the team that makes me the most nervous.
Don't forget about Tom. Tom Brady down there.
Yeah, sure.
Tampa's just getting healthy. That division's trash. They're gonna just let him limp in with like a 9-8 record, and he's gonna just go.
Look out for Marcus Mariota.
Marcus Mariota. Shout out Ducks. Let's go. All right. So here's another one. The Rams offense is just going to be fun to watch. We have Bryce Perkins potentially making the first start of his career today. A dual threat quarterback, by the way, who last started in 2019. He's a rookie from like 3 years ago. But the thing with Perkins too, he's a mobile quarterback. He was a dual threat at Virginia. But Allen Robinson is out. We also have Cooper Kupp out as well. So my thought process here is, the Chiefs defense, are they a top 5 option this week? Derek, kick it down to you really quick. What's your thoughts about this Rams offense? I know with no Robinson, no Cooper Kupp, you starting anybody on the Rams? Are you starting that Chiefs D? What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm staying away from the Rams. How the mighty have fallen here, and even Higbee is questionable. He'll probably play, but he's questionable as well, which would be the one legitimate target that Perkins may have. Van Jefferson, he doesn't do it for me either.
Ben Skowronek is just, how dare you slander Ben Skowronek?
Yeah. I tried.
I know.
I really tried.
No, I am completely off the Rams. It pains me to say that because I've been a pseudo Rams fan for a long time. I'm completely off them right now. And would I take the Chiefs defense? If I had to, if I'm streaming defenses and they're there, that's not a bad plug to play. But I've got to think there's better options out there if you're still streaming defenses at this point. So I'm not going to go as far as streaming the Chiefs defense, but I am definitely out on all the Rams offensive players.
Yep, makes sense. J-Bone, we appreciate too. Thanks a lot. Thank you for joining the show. We always got you with your questions here as well. Let me just take these things off real quick and back to some questions here, folks. All right, so we have Jefferson 23, by the way. Jefferson number 1 in our hearts because he's a mainstay on the show. We appreciate it as always. Thanks for joining. Good morning, my lady and lads. Always a pleasure to have you on, sir. Half PPR, wide receiver 2 question here, folks. We got Juju versus that Rams. Are the Rams going to phone it in? I mean, Jesus, at this point, that defense has been a paper tiger. I'm sorry. I've been watching. We talked a lot about the injuries the last few weeks. The Rams defense should have dominated, and they did not. You got Christian Kirk versus the Ravens and Marquise Hollywood-Brown versus the Chargers. 3 really good options here. Let's kick it down to you, Gladys, first. What are your thoughts here?
Okay, again, I'm going to say I am wary of the pitch count that Hollywood-Brown's going to be on. So in a half PPR, I don't think he'll get enough. I think that the Kansas City game is going to get out of hand very early, very quickly. I think Juju will be part just to ease him back in, like in the first half. But then I think why play him? Why risk the injury with him and the rest of the other ones? So Christian Kirk is actually he has a good matchup versus the Ravens. So In a game which the Jacksonville predicts to be behind, Christian Kirk is the outlet for Trevor Lawrence. I would go Christian Kirk. But quickly on the Arizona, look at Trey McBride, to the other tight end, to get some receptions in that game, because like the gentleman up top said, they don't have anyone in slots. They don't have anyone in the slot. So, but on this question, I'm going Christian Kirk versus the Ravens for sure.
Sky?
Juju for me, assuming he's healthy, which he seems to be after that pretty gnarly concussion. I'm going to get Juju back in there. 11 targets in 2 of the last 3. Got hurt in the other one. 8 targets before that. He's been playing very, very well. He's actually got a deeper ADOT, not by much, but deeper ADOT than the last couple of years in Pittsburgh as well. So he's moving down the field. We have, of course, love the Chiefs offense, and he would be that number 1 there. So Juju for me, pretty easily. Also, I want to give a shout out to Jefferson for the Don't Worry, Be Hoppy. First of all, I've been in a reggae band forever. We play a lot of Bob Marley songs, so that's a good one. Also, the hops there. It's a little early for me on the West Coast, but I enjoy a delicious beverage from time to time.
Amen to that. Derek?
Yeah, it's Kirk for me. I follow tracking with what Gladys was saying. Kirk has 9 or more targets in 6 of their 10 games, and I know it's half PPR, but still, he's got a nice solid floor for me. With upside. Ravens. If their offense shows up, that's even better for Kirk for me, because they're gonna. I would love to see a track meet there. I don't think it will be, but it would be nice if it was. That would be, make the Kirk pick even more solid for me. But I like the floor there, even in the half PPR, and I'm going to roll with Kirk.
I think Kirk's a top 15 receiver this week. I think he's proven us. He's like the poor. Him and St. Brown have taken these hybrid slot receivers, prototypical slot guys, and earned the number 1 roles on their teams. And we saw what St. Brown did on Thursday. I think Kirk has done it multiple times. Even before the bye, he went off. And I think that at this point, you lock him in. He's got a plus matchup against the Ravens. Don't even think about it twice. I'm going with Christian Kirk on this one. Isaac, another one here for a 12-team full PPR. Is Evan Ingram a good start today? I can tell you from someone who is starting him, let's hope so, my friend. I do think he might be. Taysom Hill worth stashing, or do I drop Hill and play Austin Hooper against those Cincinnati Bengals? We'll kick it over to you, Derek, first. What's your thoughts here? Evan Ingram, is he a good start? Would you start to Hill, or would you start Austin Hooper over him this week?
I have a quick question before we start answering.
Sure,
is the Hooper contingent on not starting Evan Ingram? Is that what he's saying?
I would assume, yeah.
Okay. All right, carry on.
Yeah, I like the Titans. I like how they're trending. Of these 3, I'm staying away from Hill. Frankly, he's either great or he's not, and he's not 2/3 of the time or more. To try to catch that lightning in a bottle, I can't do it. So I'm totally out on Hill. I'm not even going to stash him. I think the Titans are trending up, and I really like. In this case, I would go with Hooper. I think there's some potential there, and against the Bengals, it's going to be a tough matchup, no question. But I'm going Hooper.
Sky?
I like the Taysom Hill thing, but not this week. The Saints are extra bad. Captain Ginge just isn't getting it done, and they just refuse to go to Jameis for some reason. No offense to you, Bob. Hear me correctly, please.
That's it.
It has nothing to do with you.
Sorry, he's out. I can't do it. He's out. He's off the screen.
This is just my in-depth reporting and watching Andy Dalton play that he's not good. He also, they have a good team around him too. So I think the excuses of the Saints being debilitated and injuries doesn't work anymore. Nonetheless, I like Taysom Hill kind of as a stash as part of this question, but it sounds like you're not looking to stash him. You're either going to play Evan Ingram and just hold on to Taysom Hill, or you're going to drop Taysom Hill and pick up Austin Hooper to then play over Evan Ingram and keep him. Overall, if I were to rank these tight ends, I guess it would be Evan Ingram, Austin Hooper and Taysom Hill this week. But long term, if you can keep Taysom Hill on your team, I would do that because yes, he is a tight end, but if they make a quarterback change or there's any injuries, he can play quarterback. And I think that he would, or he would at least be in more of those packages. But the 49ers are dominant against tight ends, so I wouldn't do that. Evan Ingram actually has a pretty good matchup this week so against the Ravens. Gave up the 7th most touchdowns, the 4th most deep targets. Evan Ingram's 3rd in deep targets among tight ends, which I do like. So if you're going to go flyer anyway, I would go for the upside with Evan Ingram.
I guess my other question here, though, is like, are you looking for a weekly start, or if you're looking for a stash, maybe it's like maybe look at playoff schedules. Like, I'm not Taysom Hill. By the way, I think with Taysom Hill, there is no analysis for Taysom Hill. We don't know when that week's going to be where he gets 10 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown or 2. We're never going to know. You're not going to know. We're not going to know. So if you want to play that game, go for it. But I will never play that game. I don't care if I'm wrong. I just will never know. Evan Ingram is a start this week. I like him against the Baltimore Ravens. He's a streamer, not a must start, but a streamer option this week. The problem is when the 3 receivers are healthy, it gets a little convoluted in a passing offense with Travis Etienne, the Joneses, and Kirk, and then you add Evan Ingram in there. There's a lot of mouths to feed that don't really separate themselves outside of Kirk, in my opinion. Of course, Travis Etienne's a stud on the ground and through the air as well. So I think Evan Ingram is a streamer option. Is he my number 1 streamer? Probably not. Maybe if you want to send us a full list of the available tight ends, we can talk about it, but I am not touching Austin Hooper. Is Cincinnati even like a legit option against tight ends? And they're below average, allowing fantasy points. So I don't even think Hooper's really on my radar personally, but I would stick with Evan Ingram as well. But feel free to send us, Isaac, some other options too, if you're looking for maybe a stash for the playoff stretch as well at tight end. All right, Jefferson told me they have ETN and James Robinson is being inactive. Would y'all? And with James Robinson being active, James Robinson's now on the Jets, so I'm not sure how that impacts ETN. I guess would you pick up Henderson and drop James Robinson? Remember, James Robinson is a healthy scratch today. Yeah, if you have ETN, you want to pick up Darrell Henderson. I personally think it's not a bad idea. This is handcuffing season anyway. Darrell Henderson might be the number 2 at some point over JaMychal Hasty, but. Gladys, quickly, your thoughts about handcuffing ETN with Darrell Henderson?
I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know how they. I think the Jaguars are stacking up for next year. Basically, I think they are piling good players for next year. My roster isn't good enough that I can stash handcuffs. I need all the players that I have to be able to play so I can make it into the playoffs. If you're in a situation where your roster is that good, yes, go ahead and do it. But I think it all depends on your roster construction and how you intend on getting into the playoffs.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody have any other opinions? I mean, I think it is team dependent. If you have Travis Etienne and you have your other players locked in, and you're not going to sit Etienne ever, so you're going to have him in. Maybe it's based on record too. If you're already kind of locked into your spots, but I also think it matters about team construction. If I have my starting lineup pretty much set every week, and I'm not worried about an option at flex to put in, then maybe you do pick up Henderson to handcuff. But if I do, like Gladys just brought up a good point, if you're trying to fight for every scratch and you basically have to play matchups every week, you don't have the luxury necessarily to handcuff. But it sounds like you have James Robinson in right now, who, by the way, just is a healthy scratch. I'm not sure what the deal is there. I thought maybe he would get more work down the stretch for the Jets, but it sounds like he's a healthy scratch. So anybody, Derek, Sky, quick thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, do we like Michael Carter enough that we're ditching the handcuff for him for a potential handcuff for ETN? We've seen what Darrell Henderson can be when he supposedly has the workload. He's just not there, and so ETN is the running back there. I love handcuffs. Don't get me wrong, but do we like Henderson, handcuffing ETN better than Robinson today? Because we don't know why he was a healthy scratch today. So I think for me, I would just preach a little caution. Let's find out why he's a healthy scratch. Could be something, not injury related. because I think there's a pathway. There's more of a pathway to playing time behind Michael Carter than there is behind Travis Etienne. If I'm looking to, if I'm in a dynasty league, you talked about the Jags building for next year. That that may change the equation a little bit. But if I'm looking for the next few weeks, I'm going to hold Robinson until I find out why he was a healthy scratch today.
Sky?
Fair. Yeah, fair. I dig all of that. I guess my only addition to that would just be you're not going to play either one of those guys if they're both healthy. Michael Carter could lose his job quicker than ETN, but anybody can get hurt at any time. And if they do, I'd rather have the Jacksonville running back. But Derek, I like all your points there.
This is the second team that has the Jags gave up on James. And listen, James Robinson's coming off a serious knee injury. Maybe I'm crazy. I just think maybe I'm just kind of off Robinson. Maybe the knee's not acting right. He's not feeling right. Maybe they're inactive. Plus, Mike White starting at quarterback. We just talked about the pass catching of running backs. Maybe they want Ty Johnson in there as the backup because he's a better pass catcher, but better fit with Mike White. I have no idea. Like Derek said, we really don't know. But I would take Darrell Henderson over James Robinson. I personally I'm off Robinson. I'm off the knee injury. Just something's not right with him. And the Jets and the Jaguars are both showing us that. So give me Henderson as a potential handcuff. God forbid something happens to ETN. All right, J-Bone. One question, if you don't mind. Any thoughts on a better QB play between Hurts and Tua? Ugh. I hate these really good QB questions because it's one. All right, with rushing and throwing touchdowns being scored the same. Sky, over to you, man. What do you think here? Tua or Hurts this week?
Boy. I want to say Hurts, but Tua has just been, frankly, amazing. It's pretty tough. I think this is a classic, and I don't want to cop out here, but I will before anybody else gets to. If you're looking for floor, just like a basic, comfortable start, close to 20 points, depending on your league settings or whatever, I feel good about Jalen Hurts in general. But we talked about A.J. Brown and Smith and Jair Alexander and things. So, A.J. Brown also has kind of a stomach bug, flu, bad, Thanksgiving something today. So I don't know how that's going to affect him tonight. But if you're looking for ceiling, I would go with Tua for sure, because we know that these wide receivers are just frankly uncoverable. It's just a matter of how this offense works. So ceiling play, blow the roof off, I would go with Tua. If the rest of your roster feels pretty good and you just want to make sure you get those points there, then I feel better about Jalen Hurts.
Gladys?
Tua.
Derek?
Yeah, both of these options are really good. We talked earlier about Jeff Wilson Jr. and, matching up against that Titans defense, which is very, very porous. Is there, and we look at that game script and, is there a chance that the Dolphins get up and slow it down, run the ball a little bit, give Wilson, plenty of yards on the ground, with Hurts, the Packers are done. In my opinion, Matt's not here to, that we can poke him at all, but the Packers are done. Hurts is going to get his. So we already talked about Devonta Smith. I really like him this week, and of course we know he can do it on the ground as well. Touchdowns being the same, either running or passing. So I agree. With what Sky said, if you're looking at a floor or looking at a ceiling, what's your situation? Or do you need a home run, or do you just need to make sure that you're solid? But you can't go wrong. I would love to have these two options, on one of my teams where I'm kind of particularly struggling with finding a quarterback that I can trust, and I would love to have either one of these guys, of course. But I love Tua. I love that offense. I love those receivers. But I would sleep well playing Hurts here as well. I love them both.
It's funny. It's now we're 10, 11 games into the season, and the same thing happens with Houston. Houston's not a good defense, but they get killed on the ground, and the passing games are just met against them. They don't allow a lot of fantasy points to quarterbacks, receivers. And that's mostly because they get killed on the ground, but it's also because of the Tampa 2 style that Lovie Smith has in Houston, and they have the 2 deep shell, and they don't allow a lot of big plays. So I'm actually going to go with Jalen Hurts. I think that at least the Packers have a much better shot at putting up points to make it more competitive in that game. So give me Hurts. Also, they sprung a leak. It looks like the Packers over the last 2 weeks have not looked good. Dak carved them up. Ryan Tannehill carved them up. So I'm going to go with the trend there and go Jalen Hurts over Tua in that matchup. All right,
I have a question before Sky has to go. And this is just a personal fantasy question, right? So I have Tyler Algier and no Saquon Barkley was my other running back. But I also have Drake London on that team. With the news of James Robinson being a healthy scratch, would you pick up Ty Johnson and play him?
Wow.
Whew, I like it. We're going deep. We're digging deep.
Yeah, that's a full Omaha. I didn't even know Ty Johnson was playing this season. I'd have to dive a little deeper into that. I'll probably just go Algier. I mean, the Falcons don't have other options.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't love it, obviously.
Yeah.
But you
is
know,
it
you're
PPR?
kind of
yes, PPR.
Ooh.
Ty Johnson, though, has been one of those guys who doesn't get consistent work, but he can you be a poor man's Jeff Wilson if Jeff Wilson's a poor man's somebody else? I don't know how that works, but nonetheless, when Ty Johnson's got opportunity, he's played well. I don't hate the name. I just don't have much to say about it, unfortunately. I would roll with the Falcons.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going Ty Johnson at PPR. Let's do it. I don't even care. It's going to be like, we don't even know. That's deep. I mean, it's going to be like 6 points to 4. And I don't know if you lose by a point because of that decision, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Well, not to throw cold water on it, but let's say not to throw cold water on it, but Ty Johnson has 7 targets on the season. Just 7. Total.
But he's also playing with Zach Wilson.
Yeah, Mike White is different breed. I'm telling you, if you look at the stats from the games last year, it was like Michael Carter was 1, then it was Corey Davis, and then it was Ty Johnson in targets with Mike White. He just checked it down to his running backs constantly. So that but it is a weather impacted game, so that could be a thing too. But
that might be better for a running back though.
Man,
if it's weather impacted, then I got NFL Network over here on the side, just on mute, but like weather reports and stuff pregame, and they were just showing Garrett Wilson warming up in Jersey. It looks fine as far as the weather. Like maybe it's a little bit windy and cold, but it's not like snowy or rainy right now. Honestly, the more we talk about this, I'm actually kind of feeling Ty Johnson. I'm not gonna lie, because you're right. I think it comes down to who's actually going to get volume, and Tyler Algier is playing in an offense that can do pretty well, but just doesn't run a lot of plays or not up tempo. They don't score a lot of points or just in close games. But then there's, Caleb Huntley and Patterson and Drake are going to be those options, plus Marcus himself running the ball. Ty Johnson, I think, is kind of, going to get maybe some opportunities there. So it's just about who's going to score, and you can't predict that. So I might actually flip here a little bit late. Let's roll Ty Johnson. The hell?
Okay.
I love it. I love
it.
Nothing better than a Ty Johnson start of the week. Let's go.
Well,
all right.
Well, how about DFS? DFS, Ty Johnson and DFS.
DraftKings is full PPR. I don't think it's. I wouldn't do that.
I don't think it's good enough.
I mean, not over anybody that matters. Over Tyler Algier, sure, but not. Yeah,
plus, I have Drake London on that team too, so
you could go flex.
Yeah, no. I mean,
yeah. The problem is though. Again, like I'm Marcus's biggest fan. The reality is Drake London. A great game for him would be like 6 targets, and he might catch 3 of them because Marcus is bad. So that's a little bit tough. Now with Kyle Pitts out, like. They don't have to do the fake, like try to use them and just don't. So they might pepper, which for the Falcons might be 8 targets. So I'm not super excited about that. I would just roll Ty Johnson and hope that he gets some extra work and maybe falls in the end zone. Good luck. I got one too. I'll get one too here before I go. First of all, my girl Cynthia Freeland has her starts of the week on NFL Network, right? And starting running back, start of the week this week, folks. After I had mentioned it. Jeff Wilson. So feeling pretty good about that. Shouts out to Cynthia. Very, very nice. I've spoken with her a few times. All right, let's go with flex here. So let's see. What was it? Sorry, I know this is very unprofessional, but it's crunch time. Do I go Juju over like Antonio Gibson? Antonio Gibson versus the Falcons, Juju back versus the Rams. Are we worried about the Rams defense at all? This is half PPR. Antonio Gibson's actually been getting work, or I wouldn't even have brought it up. Open for him.
Yeah, I would go Gibson. I like Gibson.
I like Gibson. Like I said, I don't know how much they're going to play Juju because maybe ease him back in. I'm not worried about the Rams defense. I think they're so pissed at the offense that they're like, fuck it, guys.
But Rams is Juju though. So Juju's playing the Rams.
Right. Yeah, I'm not worried about the Rams defense at all. I think they're like,
oh, so you're play him?
Yeah. I say no. I say play Gibson because I don't know how much the KC is going to play Juju. You know what I mean? Against a defense that's pretty much packed it in. They're going to be so far ahead. I just don't see them playing there.
Bob?
They're studs.
Yeah, I have Gibson right now in my rankings. I have him as the RB, let's see, I think 20-ish range. Let's see. Sorry, just give me 1 second. This is very unprofessional. My apologies. RB 21.
No, it's good. We're talking out.
No, it's just that, and I'm looking at the Kansas City match. Matchups really don't matter with Patrick Mahomes, right? Like he's just going to light people up. But the Rams are a perimeter defense where they allow a decent amount of fantasy points. I just don't have any faith. What's the score going to look like today? Is Bryce Perkins going to put up like 17 to force them to at least get 28 to 35? Or is it going to be like 24-7, 10, 24-10? And that's it. Patrick Mahomes kind of mails it in. It was Isaiah Pacheco action. I'm actually going to go Gibson. Is it PPR? Sorry.
Half.
Yeah, I'm good with Gibson. I think he's a safer play.
Okay. All right, deal. And then more importantly, Justin Fields is out. So Matt Ryan or Taylor Heineke, Marcus Mariota, Derek Carr. I'm not playing the rest of these clowns. So Ryan, Heineke hasn't thrown a touchdown in 2 games, but he's going up against the Falcons. Marcus in the same game with the rushing floor, 4-point touchdowns, which is a terrible league setting, but not my choice. Derek Carr, who has 1 weapon, or that's probably it. I don't trust Jacoby Brissett.
Derek Carr, I like his 1 weapon, and that game's going to be a blow. I think that game's going to be a shootout. I really do.
I'd go Carr as well.
Yeah, I can get on board with that as well. Yeah.
I mean,
I was going to say Matt Ryan, because I'm really high
Pittsburgh on Monday night.
Yeah, I am. And they're 30th against the quarterback and 32 against the wide receiver.
Yeah, but you got to remember that it was skewed because TJ Watt was out for those 3 weeks too. So once TJ Watt came back,
Colts have a running game again, which is going to open up the play action pass. I like Alec Pierce as well this week. So I wouldn't. It would be tough for me. I would go with Carr because I think there's more potential there, and it's probably a safer play. Knowing what we know, we're not expecting Matt Ryan to get a 50-yard rushing touchdown again. But I don't mind Matt Ryan. Think about Matt Ryan. To be honest with you.
Okay. All right, folks. I appreciate you. Oh, go ahead. Breaking news.
Yeah, the Bears are starting Nathan Peterman because Simeon suffered a pregame injury. So the Bears are starting Nathan Peterman today.
So Bob gets his wish. There you go.
Wow.
So this is Jets DST.
Yes,
easily
DST.
the number 1.
They're in my DFS lineup. Yeah, I got to do that.
It skyrocketed up my pregame rankings. Wow.
How many times can we say in a matchup between 2 teams that the defense is the best matchup out of everybody?
Honestly, I'll take the Bears DST too. I think it's going to be pretty rough. Well, hey everybody, really quick. I do have to jump off here, but I'm wishing everyone a great week 12. Get ready for those playoffs and team. just want to give some love and grateful energy for all of you over the weekend here, and super stoked to be a part of the squad. Always have a lot of fun with you guys on Sundays. So hope you had a great weekend. I know some of us worked, some of us had family time, whatever, but appreciate all the viewers tuning in, and get back with us the rest of this week for the playoff rush, and catch you guys soon. Thanks again. Good luck, everybody.
Bye, Sky.
Peace, Sky.
Bye, Sky.
All right, we have a kicker report, and obviously that's one way to send Sky off. If he doesn't love kickers more than anybody else, that is it. So this week I have my streamer kickers. Dicker the kicker has been really good. If you can get your hands on him, the Chargers kicker, I really do like him a lot this week. Ryan Suckup has been dropped in a lot of leagues. He's got a good matchup against Cleveland Browns. I'd monitor the weather there, but I do like Ryan Suckup as well. Robbie Gould going in the later slate against the New Orleans Saints, I do like a lot as well. And of course, if you need someone, Brandon Myers, the Seattle kicker, I like him a lot too. So Myers, Gould, Dicker the kicker, and Gould. I'm sorry.
Dicker or Young Hoku?
Dicker.
Really?
Yeah.
Another change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love that game. Arizona has been one of the better teams at red zone defense, which I love for kickers. Get the team moving downfield and stall out. Give me those 3 points. I love that every way. But Ryan Suckup actually is my number one kicker in my metric, but something tells me that game with the potential a little bit of weather there. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure there, but
Suckup's available too. That's okay. I just picked Dicker. I took Dicker.
I picked Dicker.
I
did
the kicker.
Too. I did the same thing because
sounds good.
It's fun. It's fun to say.
Exactly.
Even though Young Wei Koo, shout out to him as well. He's also fun to talk about as well. We also have Jeff's 23. Y'all, thanks for the advice. Jeff's 23. Of course, man. We're here for you. You join us. We love every second. Endorphins with the question of the year from Gladys on Ty Johnson. Roll Tide. Instead of Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
You're a tie. All right. I actually do have one of my own. I'm going to do a selfish question here too, because I've been just back and forth.
Now I feel bad.
Yeah, no, I'm just joking. It's not selfish. I need you guys to help me. I have 15,000 running backs. None of them are really slam dunks. So I need to start 2 running backs. I have James Conner, Isaiah Pacheco, Cordell Patterson, Foreman, P. Ryan, Akers, Pierce, Damian Pierce. Right now, today, I have Conner and Isaiah Pacheco in. I do like Foreman and P. Ryan too, but I'm not sure. Let's kick it over to you, Gladys. What are your thoughts?
I like who you have in. I really like who you have in. Connor, is going to at least get the goal line carries. He might not get your yard. Is it PPR? Do you care about?
It's half. It's half
PPR. And like you said earlier, I think that game is going to be so far out of hand that they're just going to give the ball to Pacheco and just say run with it. So I like Pacheco and Connor. I don't think Deontay Foreman. I don't. You like his matchup? I don't like that matchup today.
I like it. Yeah, against Denver. Denver's a run funnel defense, man. They do allow a decent amount of rushing production. But like the thing is, like the Sam Darnold experience to me, I like to know things. And when I don't know, like I already don't know anything. So like when there's more unknown to the unknown, I don't like it. And Sam Darnold, I don't know if he's going to be an absolute disaster. I do think they lean on the run. Now, Pacheco, though, is like he looks so good, but for fantasy football, he sucks. He had a dominant game last week, and he scored 10 points. And you're just like, he doesn't catch passes, and for some reason, he doesn't get enough goal line usage. They use like trickery. They use a flip toss to Travis Kelce on the 2-yard line. They'll do an inside thing. Like they don't even like line up in the I formation and run with Pacheco. Now Clyde is out, of course, over the next few weeks. But he doesn't score touchdowns. He scored 1 touchdown this season. And it's just like, I don't know. And the Rams are a good run defense. They're not terrible. So I am a little concerned there. That's why I was thinking Foreman. But what's your thoughts, Derek?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, Bobby, how you put yourself in this position. You start a Connor and Pacheco, then you see Patterson go off for 2 touchdowns. And, in the first, by like 30 minutes into the game and you're kicking yourself or, P. Ryan gets two touchdowns, and you're, and you're like, where did that come from? Or Foreman, comes out. Yeah, that's a tough one. But I agree. Connor and Pacheco, going in are probably is the best 2. but I'm probably not looking at the the updates coming across for the other ones because I would just be kicking myself.
So I actually went. I'm sitting here like because I have all the spreadsheets. I got millions of them, and I'm just sitting, and it's just like everyone's like right here. It's like Foreman, Pacheco, and then P. Ryan. The thing is with P. Ryan, his run game matchup is terrible, awful. Yeah, the projection for against the Titans is bad, but the thing is the Titans are bad against pass catching running backs, and P. Ryan's a pass catching running back. So you could see him getting like 5 for 50, and he found 3 receiving touchdowns. He had 3 receiving touchdowns last week. So it's like I could see him having a solid. Now, if it was full PPR, maybe I would go P. Ryan over these guys. But like Pacheco, I just don't feel like he's going to score. I feel like he's going to have 16 carries and 85 yards. And I'm going to be like, cool. That was awesome. It's like he doesn't get enough scoring opportunities, which makes no sense when you play for the freaking Chiefs. But like you said, I just think that it's just the best offense, the best scenario. Realistically, who do you feel the most comfortable with? And then the Pacheco, if he finds the end zone, you probably got an RB1 because of his rushing production. Yeah. So, yeah, it hurts. And you're right. I'm going to probably see CPAT is probably the correct answer for some reason against Washington. And I'll just be pulling my hair out for 2.5 hours. I can't wait for that. Super stuff.
Well, I've got one of my own. If you guys, if you can help me out. So this is a PPR, and I just need to fill the flex. I've got Donovan Peoples-Jones, Allen Lazard, or Dameon Pierce. Full PPR.
Yeah, I would have. My early gut would have been Donovan Peoples-Jones. Lazard. The Eagles defense, man. I just think that Darius Slay and those guys and Bradbury are gonna be able to hold down Lazard enough. Is this full PPR? Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, he said full PPR.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's getting targets. They're going to be behind. Brissett's going to have to prove himself because this is his last hurrah before Watson comes in. And Christian Watson's kind of taken over Aaron Rodgers' little heart. So I don't know that Lazard gets peppered, but I think Donovan Peoples-Jones is underrated in a PPR.
I just want to see what's going on in Cleveland. Let's see what's going on in Cleveland right now. Let's check it out. I'm gonna go DPJ.
It says 2 to 4 mile an hour winds, which shouldn't be anything.
Yeah, it's supposed to be raining. Yeah, it looks like it's cleared up actually. Yeah. So it looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. The weather's good.
Yeah.
4 to 4.
15 mile an hour winds coming from the south.
Wait, I have 4 mile an hour winds coming from the south.
I'm on weather.com.
I'm on, I don't know what.
Yeah, I'm gonna go DPJ. I think that's my opinion on that one. I'm actually going Treylon Burks over DPJ myself. I like Burks. I don't know. I actually don't dislike DPJ either. I don't know. I like it. I think I'm gonna go DPJ. I think we're good there. All right, let's do a quick streamers here really quick because I know let's do a quick round. If we don't get actually we may have a couple questions. We'll kind of close out around 9:30.
Okay.
All right, we have one here. We got Jared Bibby. What's going on, man?
Bibby.
Jacobs, he's screaming this at the top.
Yeah, he is.
Jacobs or Evans in the flex? I don't think I could ever sit Josh Jacobs, but this is actually a good question, Mike Evans. Let's go to you, Gladys, first.
Jacobs is playing hurt. What's wrong with Jacobs?
Yeah.
Where did he hurt? Leg, arm?
Let's see. Yeah, he does have an injury, but I don't remember what it was.
And they're in Seattle. I'm gonna go in the flex. I'm gonna go Evans. I actually like wide receivers in the flex.
Yeah, calf injury for.
Calf injury. Yeah, I'm going Evans. I don't want to play anyone that's playing hurt because they might not play the whole game or the whole series or at all. And it's a late game too. Are both games late games? No, the Tampa is an early game.
He got added to the injury report on Friday. It seems like it's just like he popped up with like an injury in practice. It doesn't seem like it was anything serious though.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier to Mike Evans. I really see Mike Evans having a big game today. So I agree with Gladys on Mike Evans on this one. If the injury scares me enough to go away from that volume and in that nice matchup. But yeah, I'm going Evans.
I'm going Josh Jacobs. The guy's been an absolute. I'm sorry, he's been an absolute workhorse. Like I have him as my RB3 this week. Overall, I think he's going to be a monster. Seattle is not a good defense. They don't scare me. Plus, I think with the injuries to the receiving core, Jacobs does have some type of receiving production he hasn't had in years past, so I do like that. So I'm going to go Josh Jacobs. If he's in, I want him in. So I'm going to go.
And I'll just say, I'm assuming this is a PPR. He didn't say if it was a PPR or not. I'm assuming it was. Going with Evans.
All right. Well, Jared, if it was half, would that change your mind?
If it was a standard, I would play Jacobs in the flex.
Yeah,
but
same.
All right, let's go around the horn really quick. Let's do really quickly streamers this week. Let's see. Do we have any? Let's go to you, Gladys, first. Any QB streamer this week that you're really looking at for fantasy football?
I don't know how much of a streamer he is, but I like Derek Carr this week in that game up in Seattle. Derek Carr's pretty much playing for his contract, I think. And that game, the over-under in that game is currently sitting at 47.5 with Seattle expected to win by 4. Devontae Adams is just, even if he only has one person that he's throwing to, but he has Foster Moreau too. And we know that Seattle is not really that great against tight ends. So there would be my 2 streamers. It would be Foster Moreau and Derek Carr. I would play both and feel really kind of sort of limitedly good about it.
Okay. Derek?
Yeah, I mentioned mine earlier, Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan has the potential to put up a real good game today. The other one I'll mention, he certainly didn't start the season as a streamer, but probably worked himself into it, is Justin Herbert. I think there's a potential there, with Keenan Allen and Josh Palmer coming in. Garrett Everett's supposed to play. It's a nice matchup there. I think Herbert could have a pretty good game.
I'm going to go Jimmy G. Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he has really kind of shown us that this offense, by the way, man, oh man, I love the fact that he can throw the ball right to like the sideline and the guy just runs for 50 yards. It's actually great. The other thing I like about the Christian McCaffrey is that they've actually incorporated their running backs more in the passing game now, which is really helping Jimmy G just get more production, because now it's not just handing the ball off to running backs all the time. It's actually incorporating a guy like McCaffrey in the passing game. So I like Jimmy G a lot this week. Unfortunately, due to Justin Fields, my sweet angel, I love you. Get better soon. I love you so much, and I need you for the fantasy playoffs. Please, for the love of God, because Jimmy G, even though I'm okay with him, I do not want to go all in with him there. All right. So Jimmy G's my stream. What about running back? I think obviously we have the guys like P. Ryan and White and those backup guys that are not getting starts. But Glass, you have any other stream or running backs you like this week?
Okay, I'm going to say this, and this goes against something I said earlier, which it contradicts something I said earlier. So Dameon Pierce is trending down. However, Miami has allowed 12 rushing touchdowns to the running back position. And I think even if the game gets out of hand, Houston is Atlanta light or dark or whatever. They're going to still, they're still going to give Dameon Pierce the ball. Dameon Pierce, I would play. I wouldn't play with a lot of confidence, but I would play Dameon Pierce as a streamer, especially with all the injuries. Although, maybe Ty Johnson.
Oh, no, you're all in now. You're all in. I love it. What do you got, Derek?
Yeah, for me, and especially in a standard league, Latavius Murray is one that I'm going to stream today. I think he's got a good matchup. He's going to get the carries, and I like him. In a PPR, I would consider Jerick McKinnon. He had a string of real good games catching the ball there. Of course, we know how Mahomes slings it. Last week, he didn't particularly have a good game, but I think there's a making for him. And I know this hurt your Pacheco call earlier, but I think McKinnon has a chance to put up a nice double-digit fantasy game in the PPR.
I hate you deep down. Just want to let you know because I feel the same exact way. Because really, how you beat the Rams is through the air with the running backs. That's how they let up their fantasy. But I love the Jerick McKinnon call, but I don't have him. I only have Pacheco. So we're there. I think Jeff Wilson would have been my call, but I'm trying to not be so obvious with it. But Jeff Wilson, I think, is an absolute slam dunk this week. I like that Latavius Murray call as well. But I will say I do like Deontay Foreman this week against Denver. I'm going to say that if you need to RB2, low end RB2, I'm okay with Deontay Foreman in that matchup against the Denver Broncos. I think that maybe Darnold's the best of the three. We don't know. I do not love the uncertainty of it, but I do like Deontay Foreman in that matchup against the Denver Broncos. Let's kick it over to you, Gladys. Wide receiver. Any streaming wide receiver you like this week?
Let's go with Matt Collins, Raiders, same reason. A game's going to be a shootout. Everyone else sick or out besides Devontae Adams. I just think that his skill set fits what Seattle is weak at, and that's that it's going to be a boom. He's going to be a boom or bust player. He's going to get that long pass. Why they're all concentrating on Adams and forgetting about Foster Moreau. So I'm going to go Matt Collins, and also because I had to play him in 3 leagues. So it's like a personal kind of wish list thing going on.
I like it. Me too. I like the wish list. What about you, Derek?
Yeah, coming into the show, I had Treylon Burks down to answer this question. We've talked about him a number of times early on. A lot of us think he's in for a good game. Also, I mentioned kind of as a flyer play, Alec Pierce. Pittman, I think Pittman has a good game. I think I talked about Matt Ryan, and I think Alec Pierce, who lines up 84% of his time in the wide position in the Steelers.
Why are you on my Steelers so much today?
I don't know.
What is happening?
I want a good Monday night game.
You're going to make me cry.
I want a good Monday night game. And, it would be nice to see a good offensive game there. Because frankly, I want Freiermuth. I might get ahead of myself, but I want Freiermuth to have a monster game this week. But I think Alec Pierce could have a touchdown. And not going for a lot of yards, but I think he has a good chance at a touchdown this week.
I'm actually going to go Jarvis Landry. So one of the things that you'll notice about our slot versus wide metric is that the San Francisco 49ers have one clear area where they get dominated, and it's the slot. And they have allowed the most fantasy points over the last 6 weeks to slot receivers. That's where Jarvis Landry gets his money. They actually are very good against perimeter wide receivers, so that could be a slight tick down for Chris Olave this week. So I do like Jarvis Landry. If you're looking for a wide receiver 3/4, give me him in some PPR formats. I think he could have a nice day as a streamer. Tight end. Let's finish up with tight end here. Gladys, who do you got?
The tight end for Broncos, Greg Dulcich. He is I don't know if he's a streamer. He should be rostered in every league. If he's not, then that's on you. But he's like a top 12 tight end. He has I think his ADOT is second for tight ends. In a game where Russell Wilson clearly cannot or will not throw the ball down the field, Dulcich is his guy.
Okay. Derek?
Yeah, I love that name. I've been high on him. I hope he does come through. So I'm gonna reach real deep on this one. Jordan Akins with the Texans. We mentioned what someone mentioned earlier about number 2 quarterback, number 2 receiver. Kind of have that hookup. Well, maybe this works also for the tight ends. So if you're really digging deep, Jordan Akins, he doesn't get a lot of targets. Maybe he'll get a few extra today, especially if the Dolphins are focusing on those wide receivers and Cooks and Collins. Maybe Akins gets a little extra love. So that would be a real reach. But I like Akins.
I'm going to go Gerald Everett if he's available, even though I think he's kind of a top 12 tight end now. I like Gerald Everett a lot this week against that Arizona defense, by the way, who gets crushed by tight ends.
Yeah, they do.
So I really do think Everett's my guy. If you're looking for more of a deeper name, maybe Foster Morneau. I think he's actually doing pretty well for the Raiders. Seattle's actually a very good matchup for tight ends as well. So I do think Foster Moreau is an option too if you need a streamer tight end. All right, first of all, I think that's all we got for today. I think we got no more questions. It's about 9:32. Once again, this is the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel, and thank you for joining us once again for the Razzball Sunday Live Start Sit. Before we close the show, Glass, any final thoughts about the week? Any hot takes, bold takes, anything you want to say? Get it out now before we close the show.
I never have hot takes, but my bold take is that Tennessee will beat Cincinnati in Tennessee, even though they are the home underdog. And if you so bet, Michael Carter, first touchdown TD, that New York Jets-Chicago game.
Derek?
For me, my hot take, Jeff Wilson Jr., 125 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Oh, okay.
That's
right.
That's my hot take. That's my hot take.
Okay, my DFS
125
lineup.
125 and 2.
Let's get it in. Get him in your DFS lineup, folks. I love that call. I love Jeff Wilson. It's time. It's time for Miami to have that big rushing game. So we'll see how that goes. All right, we have one more question here before we close out from Zion the Legend. How you doing, man? Hurts or Morneau? Really quick, full PPR, Gladys.
Moreau. Foster.
Same, Moreau.
I'm going to foster some good energy and say Foster Morneau. All right, my bold take today is because I need it the most. I'm looking for a nice Geno Smith, Gerald Everett touchdown connection, big performances from those guys, and a fun one. I really like to see that in my DFS lineup. And plus, my Justin Field, I need Geno Smith in my biggest league, and I need him to do very well. So I'm going to put it out to the universe, a nice touchdown pass to Gerald Everett, and makes me super excited. All right, thank you for joining once again. Make sure you just follow, subscribe to the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel. Make sure you're jumping over to razzball.com. By the way, we have great articles from these two great writers, myself and our whole entire team. Make sure you're also checking us out on the hockey. We do basketball. We do baseball, of course, at razzball.com. But also check out the Slot First Wide tools, guys. We have great tools and resources on our fantasy data tab. Thank you for joining us. And once again, I want to shout out both Gladys L. Tyler, who you can follow at Gladys L. Tyler on Twitter, and Derek. You can follow him at Derek_Favorite. And also Sky Gawasco out there in the universe somewhere. You can follow him at Sky Gawasco. And of course, I'm your host, Bobby Lamarck. You can follow me at Bobby Lamarck on Twitter. We are out of here.
Good luck.